step number one, pause. Right. And while you're pausing, I would recommend putting all that money while it's waiting into a high interest savings account. Step number two, if it's going to take you some time, absolutely put it into a high yield savings account. So at least it's growing while you're doing that. And then step three, I would really recommend giving yourself the space and the time to really get concrete on your goal. And the reason I say that is because if you don't have a goal towards which you want to either use this money or kind of like build your life towards, then you're kind of like a plastic bag in the wind. Like anything can impact your day-to-day decisions, right? And it's really, really easy to get like pulled side to side. So I would say the three things are pause, stash it in a high interest yield account like while you're thinking, and then number three, while you're thinking, like create a goal for yourself, because then you've got something to focus on. Then you know, like, oh, so and so wants to borrow money, or oh, I really want to spend the money on this, and you're like, well, wait a minute, how does that align to my goal? It helps you make decisions, right, that are going to be aligned, that are going to help you get
Yeah.
to like where you want to be. And it also helps you say no. It's much easier to say no because you're like, no, that doesn't work. And it's much easier to say yes, right? Because like when you've got your eye on what you're going towards, if this is going to help you or not. So those are the three things that I would say.
I want to invite you into the Business Network, my free school community for entrepreneurs and business owners who want to grow their network and scale their business. Inside, you'll get step-by-step lessons, monthly workshops, feedback, scripts, resources, bonuses, and a community of like-minded people who believe in helping each other win. Join us today at school.com, the Business Network, and click Join Group. I'll see you inside.
Welcome, everyone, to Doing Business with a Servant's Heart podcast. I'm your host, Steve Ramona, and I've got a woman on today. And I've told women, and I just watched something this morning from Darren Hardy about women are taking over business, because they truly are. Because what he had said, EQ, emotional intelligence, I think is what EQ, I always screw that up, but you get it. And my guest is helping those extremely successful women to be even more successful, but more importantly, taking care of their family. Because women are very maternal, and that's why I love them. And I'd work with any woman that's a power woman like this one. So before we start, here's our gratitude for today. Here's our service. Every day is a new chance to be amazing. Let me say that again. Every day is a new chance to be amazing. You are awesome. Say that a couple times, not like I did. It's a powerful word. And you know what? Amazing could be anything you want to be. You could be able to start walking again, or you made $1 million. Amazing doesn't scoreboard. Don't scoreboard it. Just enjoy the amazement. With that being said, let's bring our guest on. Julia, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Steve. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
You heard what I said about women, and as apropos, you're on today after watching Darren Hardy's video this morning about the power of women in business. Why do successful women need help with money?
Successful women need help with money because they are so focused on making it, which is obviously incredibly important, that typically what happens is the management piece of it, the intentionality piece of it, of then utilizing it and thinking about it as a tool to actually grow your wealth is often kind of like a last thought, right? And my perspective is we need to kind of bring that front and center. I believe that money is your tool to create a life that you love, and that can mean anything, right? So it's about bringing intentionality to the money that you're making so that you're using it and creating something beautiful to enhance your life.
That's
Yeah.
so well said. How does service with money? What's your description of that? What when I say a servant's heart, because money is extremely emotional.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how do
Um,
we
I,
serve?
how do we serve? I think there's a couple ways. I mean, there's a lot of ways to serve. I think that you serve yourself with money by investing in yourself, investing in your mind, growing, growing yourself, growing the life that you're living, growing in your surroundings. And then also, as you are making more money and as you are investing in yourself, you also get a chance and opportunity to invest in people that you love. You get to invest in organizations that are important to you. You get to invest in people that are next to you and helping them bring them up with you. So I think money is the ultimate tool for service, right? For yourself and for the world around you. And it's often, and I hate that it's often money is tinged with like a negativity because like I think money is delicious and I think there's so many good things that can be done with money. And I want to focus on that. I want to focus on the positivity of money.
I'm not a wine drinker, but you just made it sound like that fine Bordeaux.
Yeah,
Money's like a fine Bordeaux, if I'm
it
saying it
is.
right. Send me
It
an email,
is.
correct my English, and that's okay. So here's the thing about money, about the mindset.
Mhm.
We talked about it. It's emotional, but people are scared of making money. I was that way. Be transparent with the audience. I was afraid to make money because what the heck am I going to do with it?
Yeah, yeah. It's very common. Not only what the heck are you going to do with it? I don't think that we like people don't really have a lot of examples that are really close to them to understand what you can do with money, right? And as your network, as we talked about, grows and your vision grows and what you see is possible with money, right? Then you can understand that there is more kind of available to you. So I think that's a really important point. And I completely lost my train of thought. Like I was, I was going on the question, and I don't know where I went. Can you repeat that?
So
I'm
people are
sorry.
afraid of abundance.
Yes, the
Money's
fear.
abundant. I love the word abundance because it's not as evil as evil's the wrong. Well, money can be evil, as scary. But
Yeah.
I've talked to entrepreneurs. Yeah, I'm happy at 5,000 a month and barely paying my bills. If I make $1 million in a year, I don't know what I do. Or they're afraid they're going to blow it.
Yeah, like the fear of like not knowing what to do with it, the fear of like who do they become, right, when they have
Mm,
this money because there
identity.
because there is a lot of negativity around like well rich people are blah blah blah. But I want to say one thing. We say this a lot. Money isn't evil. Money is neutral. Money is a tool, right? And it's the humans that use it that decide what to do with it and how to employ it that make those decisions. And I really, and that's a really important thing for me. I keep saying like money is a tool because you can use it to enhance your life, you can use it to enhance the people around you, or you can use it for not good. But the fear is really real because I think what happens is like there are blockers in us and like kind of like every like new level that we hit because we
Mm,
don't know what to do with it, because we've never seen maybe other people do good with it, right? The fear of that is very real. And the fear of like what I encounter of like making a mistake or making a bad decision, right? And there is no such thing. It's all part of your journey because these mistakes give you lessons learned, right? And you get to
yeah.
grow from that. So, yes, there is a natural fear of something that maybe is unknown, but then go and figure it out. Go read some books, go listen to some podcasts, right? The fear is
Yep.
when you don't know. That's where that fear comes in.
Beautiful. I love how you said that. Well, you don't know, you don't know. And it's good and bad. It's what you don't know. And you can 10 times your or 10% increase your money every year. Oh,
Yeah.
everybody would love to do that. And it reminds me of Julia, and you're so smart, is lottery winners and professional athletes.
Okay.
A lot of times both of them go broke
Yes.
because they've got this quick money. And at a young age, when it comes to sports, a lot of the times, even in lottery, it's young people or older people, they win the lottery and they got 10 million after tax, they blow it.
Yep. Yep, because they don't know how to manage it, right? The thought process that a lot of us are like grown up with is because we're just not taught about how to think about money is like, what you make, you spend. Like what goes in goes out, right? You're thinking about money as the money that you're inheriting, you're thinking about it as that whole number. This is how much I have to spend. And from my perspective, it's like, okay, we're getting this money. So X percent immediately goes towards my savings. Like I'm creating a cushion. Like I am not, I'm not spending it all. So it's like it's a mindset flip in what comes in is not an automatic spend. You have to automatically reduce it a certain amount so that you can create some cushion for yourself and some longevity so that this money then can grow for you and do something bigger and you can invest it in something else, right? And it's those people that they've maybe never had money before, or they even had money before, but they've never been taught how to think about it differently. And the other piece of that is like it doesn't mean that you have to like repress yourself. It doesn't mean that you have to have like a not fun lifestyle. You can still enjoy, very much so, but you gotta figure out kind of how to balance that with taking care of yourself in the future. So it's like the money that you get today takes care of you today and tomorrow. And that's kind of my perspective.
Rarely speechless. It's so powerful what you're saying there because it's parameters. Guy with 10
Yes.
million is going to do more than the guy with a million, or the one with a million or 10. And real life, I've had a coach for 15 years. She is absolutely incredible, and I've never I've been late on bills, but I've never missed a bill. I've always had money in the bank account. Now I've had debt and things and worked
Yeah.
all that out, making mistakes, like you said, but you're absolutely right. What you do is powerful. So, audience, I love what she's doing. I tell financial coaches all the time, they're like priests and therapists and all that put to one. So first three of you that reach out that mention this podcast, we'll get Julia's contact info. You can reach out to her, reach out to me and say, hey, I saw Julia's podcast. I'm going to send you a gift. I'm going to send you a book that made me $1 million and just give it to you for free. Because people go, why would you do this? Because I want you to get a gift. Because if we can change your life, me and Julia, we're going to be quite happy about this. So let's keep moving on. So give us some tips, men or female. I know you work with women, that somebody does get a flush of cash, this big thing. What is that first step, first thing they should do?
So with a flush of cash, I think it's really important to pause, right?
Mm.
Because when you get a huge flush of cash, you're kind of like, now what? Right? And when you're in this now what place, you don't want to make decisions from this. You want to make decisions from a place where your emotions are not elevated, where you can be strategic, you can be thoughtful. So step number one, pause. Right. And while you're pausing, I would recommend putting all that money while it's waiting into a high interest savings account. So you can have like online or you can have, a brick and mortar. But like, and the reason I say put it there is like while you're thinking about the strategy about what you want to do with this money, kind of what, you want your future like life to look like, it's going to take you probably some time unless you know right away. So it's like step number one, pause. Step number two, if it's going to take you some time, absolutely put it into a high yield savings account. So at least it's growing while you're doing that. And then step three, I would really recommend giving yourself the space and the time to really get concrete on your goal. And the reason I say that is because if you don't have a goal towards which you want to either use this money or kind of like build your life towards, then you're kind of like a plastic bag in the wind. Like anything can impact your day-to-day decisions, right? And it's really, really easy to get like pulled side to side. So I would say the three things are pause, stash it in a high interest yield account like while you're thinking, and then number three, while you're thinking, like create a goal for yourself, because then you've got something to focus on. Then like, oh, so and so wants to borrow money, or oh, I really want to spend the money on this, and you're like, well, wait a minute, how does that align to my goal? It helps you make decisions, right, that are going to be aligned, that are going to help you get to
Yeah.
like where you want to be. And it also helps you say no. It's much easier to say no because you're like, no, that doesn't work. And it's much easier to say yes, right? Because like when you've got your eye on what you're going towards, if this is going to help you or not. So those are the three things that I would say.
Love the pause. That is so cool.
Yeah.
Just it's not hurting, even if it doesn't make get the interest, of course, the savings if you can. But I mean, if it's in there for a month, yeah, maybe you lost. You didn't lose money, you just didn't
You
make
didn't
money.
lose.
But you
Exactly.
pause and you think about it. So you've really proved to us that financial coaching is big, especially when you make a lot of money, or your salary increases massively, or you get a big commission.
Yep.
How does somebody go about finding somebody like you to manage their money?
So, I mean, I'm happy to provide my
Yeah,
contact info. Yes.
we'll do
So
that. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, so, I would, so my website, moneycoachjulia.com, like super simple. You can also literally just Google money coaches. There's also a variety of different platforms that can provide financial professionals for you. I know I'm part of a platform called Purse Strings, and they have a variety of different professionals, financial coaches, advisors, lawyers, tax planners, all of that. But really, I would say is you can really start by Googling, and like the most popular websites will come up. Um, but that would be probably the best way to find somebody. I would also start talking to your friends and seeing if anybody has done
Great.
anything like this before, right? Like talk to your network. Because one, that starts getting you talking about money, which is like the first step to really breaking down barriers and breaking
Mm.
down discomfort and fear and all of that kind of like stuff that comes up with money. So talk to people, ask around, and then that also, spreads the information that there is such a thing as money coaching because it's actually kind of new. We've had therapy, we have life coaching, but money coaching is still relatively new, and it's such an important component of your overall wealth strategy because like you're starting from zero, you're starting with your mind. Like this is where we have to start to help manage and regulate the emotions so that you can make strategic decisions when you're talking to a financial advisor.
Being strategic's big, really
Yeah.
big. And what you don't know, don't know. We're going to go back to that.
Yeah.
So let's take this a little deeper. So they get a couple referrals in their network. Hey, go
Mhm.
talk to Joe and Tommy. And maybe they talk to you. There's certain good questions to ask to learn about this financial coach that can give you more background to help you make that decision.
That's a really great question. I think that it's important when you're trying to find a coach, um, and especially a money coach. I think it's important to listen to your gut. I think you have to be really comfortable with this person. So yes, I think there's going to be important questions that you ask them, but I also think you have to pay attention to kind of like what's going on inside of you. How comfortable are
Oh,
you feeling with this person, right? Do you feel like you could be honest with yourself and ultimately with them? Because the point money coaching, it's for you to reach your goal, but you have to be honest with yourself. And a lot of people are kind of scared to get into that deeper layer, right? So it's like I would say focus on kind of like what you're feeling with the person, but I would also ask them kind of like what their coaching style is. And you'll probably get a sense of this also talking to them. Like, are they going to challenge you? Right? Because a good coach is going to challenge your assumptions, is going to challenge your beliefs, right? It's going to show you different opportunities to kind of like think about how, you want to achieve your goals. So I don't know if there's an actual question. I mean, you can talk about the kind of like their program specifics. I'm partial to one-on-one coaching. I know there's a lot of different programs that will do group coaching, and some people really benefit from that. I do think it's important to get at least some one-on-one time with the coach because money coaching it's personal. It's very individual. It's very unique. Everybody's lifestyle and situation is really, really unique. So it's important that you get kind of FaceTime with the coach that you want to work with.
yeah, the amount of money is going to be different.
Yeah.
Female to male is different. Age is different.
Yeah.
There's a lot of variables involved. I like how you did that because your gut, and that's a big thing for entrepreneurs. Listen to your gut. So I'm glad you said that. And yeah, they're probably. I mean, have you had clients before? What's their success? Things like that you can do. I mean, that's the best way to answer that. Just listen to your darn gut.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Speaking
Because
of
you're
gut,
gonna work with this person, right? Like
yes.
they're gonna challenging you. Like do you like to work with this person? Do you want to interact with them? So you've gotta you've gotta be able to kind of feel that out.
Yeah, because it's personal, just like a psychiatrist. You're going to tell me your
Yeah.
deepest, darkest secrets. You got to trust them. Trust has got to be
Yeah.
huge. And money, of
Yep.
course, is a big trust factor. So, speaking of gut, intentional wealth, what's your thoughts on that?
Um, my thoughts on intentional wealth are that I don't think people think about it like that,
No.
right? Intentional wealth. And I think that we need to. I think that, money is such a great way, and I keep saying this, to create the life that you want because money really gives you freedom, it gives you options, it removes lots of different barriers, right? And intentional wealth is about cultivating that and creating that with thought. It's, it's like, kind of what do I want to say? It's like, being intentional about like your identity that you're creating with your wealth, right? Because as your wealth grows, like your identity changes. So intentional wealth, I think, yeah, it's not a phrase that we use very frequently, yet I think it's incredibly crucial. And I'm gonna bet, I haven't talked to really any billionaires, but I'm gonna bet that a lot of billionaires think about wealth intentionally.
And
Yeah,
the ones I've interviewed and talked to after, that's exactly it. They're not frivolous on it. They're not just, oh, it's $1 million here. No, there's intentionality, there's
yeah,
strategic, all the
strategic.
variables involved with that. Well, here's the real mindset uh, screw up comes up to my head, but the mindset thing that entrepreneurs have a problem with, but so do people with money, is decision making. Being indecisive, I say all the time, is worse than making the wrong decision.
That's so true.
Talk about that with money, because it's big.
Yeah. A lot of things with indecision. That's where a lot of people's holdup is this like
Mm.
indecision, this like they kind of like freeze, like, right, like I don't know what to do. And by freezing and with indecision, so not only are you wasting time with indecision, right? Whereas like when you can make a decision and go and then you figure out was it wrong, was it right, and then you kind of start pivoting. The thing with indecision, and it's funny because I wouldn't say struggling with it, but that was one of my own challenges. And I'm learning and growing my capacity to make decisions faster. Like that is something that I'm very focused on. Indecision has a weight in your body. And that weight takes up your capacity to think clearly. That weight takes up your energy, right? Versus like, think about that. If you're like thinking about something and you're like, oh, you're weighing. The moment you make a decision, you're just like, got it, right? And you run, right? So there is a lot of like intangible things, but you feel it within your body and it holds you back from intentionally growing your wealth, right? And again, this a lot of indecision is like when people don't know, people are scared. You're never going to know what the right answer is. I think that's the biggest lesson that I've learned from like entrepreneurial, like being an entrepreneur. You never know. You just gotta go. You gotta try it. You've got to, it's like you've got to like, okay, well, is it going to put me in the hole? Millions of dollars. Well, is it strategic? Is it intentional? Is there a point to it? Right. So as long as it's intentional and strategic and you've got your reasons for it, you got to go because there is no right answer. Right. And
No,
like the
no.
problem with indecision is like people think there's a right or a wrong answer, but there isn't. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a beautiful piece of advice. And I've got advice from very successful people. Is like, you can ask questions in your research, because we're not saying, and Julie, you're not saying, decision, do I spend 100,000 on this stock? Let's just use an example. I'm not saying, hey, the coach gives it to you and go, okay, I'm going to buy that Apple stock. Let's just use it. That's not what we're saying, but don't take a month to make that decision.
Right.
The time frame should be legitimate enough to give you enough time, but don't listen to your friends and family and your colleagues.
Yes.
I forget what he said, and I forget his name, and I apologize who you were out there. It's just you can get input, but that's
Yes.
all it is.
Oh,
Take it, and then you make don't let other people make oh, you're stupid, Steve. You should buy Apple. It's gonna be this. Bitcoin's a perfect example. How many
yeah.
people have I've talked to that could have bought Bitcoin 10 years ago? I could have bought Bitcoin 15 years ago. But
Yeah.
I made a decision not to. Yeah. Did I lose money? Yeah. But you know what? I'm making money somewhere else.
Absolutely. I love what you said about input. Like, I think that is a really important point. So just the other month I did a talk around money coaching and AI. Like you can use AI to be your money coach. But then what like my final kind of comment was like, don't rely on it. Everybody's like thinking AI is like the end all and be all, and it's great. It's a great tool. But it is just another input, just like your advisor, just like your mom, just like your partner, just like your right friends. It's all inputs. And you, as the CEO of your own life, have to make the decision based on what is right for you, based on your risk profile, based on your timeline, based on your goals. So I love that you said that.
You're absolutely brilliant. Audience will get her contacted, because here's why. you saying the input from your money coach and financial advisor, whatever label you put on it, it's just input. Because my advisor says to do this doesn't mean I have to. And if the
100%.
advisor is pushing you to do it, or saying if the phrases like if you don't do it, you can miss out, or hey, this kind of money, don't work with that person, because it's just informational input. Here's what could happen. And I could tell you're the same way as mine. It's like she's always, hey, we could do this or do this. Most of the time I say yes, but once in a while I said, no, let's change this up. It's like, okay, I'm just giving you inputs or audience input from everything you do as an entrepreneur. That's why she's great to be on this podcast. It's just not about money. It's about being a business. So we're coming to the end here. Got to ask this question because legacy's big with money. Mm-hmm. Describe to us the importance of money coaching towards your legacy.
Towards my legacy personally?
Yours or anybody else's. How do we, give us quick tips on how to bring legacy in with our money coaching? Because a quick example, my business partner, shout out Matt, he's awesome. His money coaching is, I want to take care of my great grandkids so they never have to pay for school. That's legacy we're leaving with our business.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think that it goes back to the concept of intention, right? As anything with money, what is your intention? And your intention is going to drive your legacy. So is your intention to be remembered as a kind and generous person, and then you want to make sure that you're donating to kind of things that are important to you? Is your intention and your legacy to make sure that your kids are taken care of, right? Then that's where you're directing where your money, your legacy. So I think it goes back to the whole concept of intentional wealth and intentional direction and strategy, and back to the original point of like, what's your goal? What do you want for your life?
Yeah, it's a beautiful answer because it's exactly it. And that legacy is different for everybody. That's the beauty of legacy.
Yes.
It's your own that you can embrace and own and be part of. Well, let's end with a fun get to know Julia question. You've watched some of my podcasts, you probably remember. So I'm going to reserve a table at your restaurant now in Florida, right? I think you've moved to Florida now.
Yeah. So
we're going to pick your favorite restaurant. You and your husband are going to come with us.
Okay.
And get a table. I want you to do two things. First, invite 3 people, whether dead or alive, who've been influential in your life. And number 2, I'm a big foodie. I want you to order food for the table.
Oh my God. Okay. 3 people, dead or alive, influential in my life. Okay. So, I mean, can I count my parents and my family as one? Can I count that as one?
Let's do that. It's your table. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Because it's my parents and my sister, because they are very, very influential. So that's one person. I'm going to have to say, this is so cheesy, but it's true. Tony Robbins, because he, when I went to a workshop of his, the idea was planted in my head to buy a business. And as I told you, we just did. So that started there. And then the third influential person, oh my God, you're really putting me on the spot here. I don't know. I'm gonna have to say, that there was this woman that I worked with. Her name was Sherry, and she was one of the only female bosses I've had. But not even that. She was like such a normal boss in the sense that like she didn't like she was just like it was like talking to like a normal person, like she understood the concept of flexibility. She understood that like you have a life. She also understood that like business is important. She was just so kind of like down to earth, and it really gave me a great example of how to be a leader, and I really, really appreciated that. I think about her frequently. I haven't talked to her in a while. Okay, so that's the 3 people. And then food. Oh my God. Okay. I mean, I love sushi. So we'll have to go with like a bunch of different creative sushi rolls, and then like little nigiri pieces and all of that. So let's say that.
Beautiful. That's a great way to converse and eat. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you for being an incredible guest. I really appreciate your time. Again, your website, people can reach out to you and any other way to contact you.
Yeah. So my website, very simple, moneycoachjulia.com. So if you reach out to me there, there's a way to email me there. But if you can't find it, then my email is also very simple, julia@moneycoachjulia.com. That's the best
Serving
way.
hearts, you make it simple. That's how we serve. Make it simple so people you can serve those people.
Yes.
Thanks again, and audience, subscribe to the YouTube channel. What a perfect show to subscribe and get this sent to you, and you're listening, and you go, God, my friend needs help with money. She is just killing it, but she talks about money all the time. It's one example. This is a gift. You truly send the podcast to them. They listen, and you made an impact. Whether they reach out to Julia, which I hope they do, or not, I'm sure they got something out of this like I did that really could make an impact in their life. Big, small, big, medium, small, doesn't matter. Just making that impact is what's important. So that being said, me and Julie want to thank all of you for watching or listening to this podcast, and we'll see you all in the next episode of Doing Business with a Servant's Heart. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye.